It didn't start with a diss track. It started with a line that almost nobody caught the first time. But once people replayed it, everything changed. Late at night, a new snippet began circulating. Low quality, barely clear, but the voice sounded like NBA YoungBoy. No official drop. No announcement. Just a few bars. And one line that fans immediately started connecting to something deeper. Because in that line, he said something about loyalty fading after you gone. That's all it took. Within minutes, social media went into full investigation mode. Fans slowed it down, cleaned the audio, broke it apart word by word. And suddenly, people weren't just hearing lyrics. They were hearing a message. A message some believe was aimed directly at only the family, OTF. Now here's where it gets intense. Because this isn't the first time fans have accused YoungBoy of sending indirect shots. But this time, the timing feels different. The tone feels different. And the reaction? Way louder. Fans are shocked. Emotions ran high as people began connecting the dots back to King Von and everything that's happened since his passing. Old tensions. Old narratives. Things people thought had cooled down, suddenly heating back up. But the moment that pushed this into another level? It wasn't YoungBoy speaking again. It was Von's mom. Because hours after that snippet started trending, a message appeared that fans are calling direct, emotional, and impossible to ignore. No names mentioned. But the energy? Clear. And now the question everyone's asking is simple, but heavy. Is YoungBoy quietly sending shots again? Or are people hearing what they want to hear? Because whatever this is, it just woke everything back up. What made this situation escalate so fast wasn't just the lyric, it was what people found right after it. Because within hours of that snippet going viral, fans started digging deeper into NBA YoungBoy's recent activity, and what they found didn't calm anything down, it made everything worse. Old clips started resurfacing. Not from years ago. Recent ones. Subtle moments in interviews, quick lines in songs, even captions that didn't seem important at the time. And when fans put those pieces together, a pattern started forming, one that people believe shows a consistent tone aimed in one direction. Not loud, not direct, but intentional. Fans are shocked. Emotions ran high as people began posting side-by-side breakdowns, pointing out lyrics that mention fake love, switching sides, and people acting different when you gone. Individually, those lines could mean anything, but together, they started sounding connected. And that's when the narrative shifted from maybe to this can't be coincidence. Meanwhile, attention moved toward only the family, because even though nobody from OTF said anything directly, their silence became part of the story. No reactions. No denials. No subtle posts responding back. Just nothing. And in situations like this, silence doesn't slow things down. It fuels it. Because now fans are asking, if it's not about them, why not shut it down? At the same time, people started watching movements. Who liked what? Who reposted what? Who avoided the topic completely? And one small detail caught a lot of attention. A close affiliate of OTF reportedly liked a post that broke down the snippet and suggested it was a diss. The like didn't stay up long, it disappeared quickly, but by then, screenshots were already circulating. That one moment? It added weight. Because now it wasn't just fans connecting dots. It looked like someone inside the circle saw it the same way. Then came another twist. A second, longer version of the snippet surfaced. Still low quality. Still unofficial. But clearer. And this time, one line stood out even more than before. A phrase about standing on business even after the smoke clear. That line hit differently because of how fans interpreted it, not as reflection, but as continuation. As if whatever tension existed before never actually ended. Fans are divided. Some believe YoungBoy is just speaking generally, using themes that every artist touches on. Others are convinced this is targeted, just layered in a way that avoids direct confrontation. And right in the middle of that debate, Vaughn's mom stepped in. Tasha Johnson didn't drop a long explanation. She didn't go live. She didn't name names. But what she posted shifted the entire energy. Her message read, "Stop playing with my child name for attention. Some of y'all know exactly what y'all doing." That line? It landed hard. Because even without names, fans immediately connected it to everything happening. And once that connection was made, the reaction exploded. Fans are shocked. Emotions ran high as people flooded the comments, trying to figure out if she was responding directly to YoungBoy, or to the people spreading the narrative. Because there's a difference. But right now, that difference is getting blurred. At the same time, people close to YoungBoy haven't responded either. No posts. No clarifications. No indirect messages trying to clear anything up. And that silence? It mirrors the other side, which creates something dangerous. Because when both sides stay quiet, the internet fills the gap. And right now, the internet is loud. Then came a detail that pushed everything even further. A fan account pointed out that the snippet dropped on a date that some believe holds significance related to past events involving King Von. Nothing confirmed. No proof of intention. But the timing alone was enough to raise questions. Because in situations like this, timing matters. A lot. Now the conversation isn't just about lyrics. It's about intention. About whether this was random or calculated. And as more people start looking at every detail, the words, the timing, the reactions, and the silence, one thing becomes clear. This isn't calming down. It's building. And if nobody steps in to clarify what's really going on, this situation could turn into something much bigger than a few lines in a song. The situation didn't slow down overnight. It intensified in a way that felt almost coordinated, even if nobody could prove it. Because while fans were still debating the snippet, something else surfaced that pushed the story into a completely different lane. A private voice note. Unverified. Low quality. But spreading fast. In that recording, a voice that some fans believe could be connected to NBA YoungBoy's circle can be heard laughing before saying, "They still hurt, that's why they reacting." The sentence wasn't clear enough to confirm anything, but it was clear enough to fuel everything. And once that clip hit social media, the narrative exploded. Fans are shocked. Emotions ran high as people began connecting that voice note to Tasha Johnson's earlier message. Because now it didn't feel like two separate moments, it felt like a response, even if it wasn't meant to be public. And that's when the tone changed. Because now, this wasn't just about interpretation. It felt like interaction. At the same time, attention turned toward only the family again, but this time, not because of silence. Because of movement. A member loosely connected to the OTF circle posted a short message that read, "We don't do internet games, just remember that." No names. No explanation. But the timing made it impossible to ignore. That post didn't calm anything down. It raised the stakes. Because now people weren't just debating lyrics, they were watching behavior, analyzing tone, reading between lines that weren't even fully written. Meanwhile, more fans started revisiting past tensions between YoungBoy and the OTF side, pulling up old moments that had faded from the spotlight. Interviews, social media exchanges, even small interactions that once felt minor were now being reinterpreted under this new lens. And when all those moments got stacked together, they didn't look random anymore. They looked connected. Fans are divided. Some believe this is all being stretched too far, that people are forcing meaning onto unrelated moments just to create drama. Others think this is exactly how real situations surface, not through one big reveal, but through multiple small pieces that start lining up over time. And right in the middle of that divide, another twist dropped. A short video clip from a recent studio session. In the background, a voice, again unconfirmed, can be heard saying, Ain't nobody forget what happened. The camera doesn't focus on who said it. The audio isn't clear enough to prove anything. But the phrase itself? It hit hard. Because now the conversation shifts again. From present tension to past events. And once that door opens, everything becomes heavier. Because now fans aren't just asking what's happening now. They're asking what never got resolved back then. At the same time, people close to Vaughn's side started reacting more emotionally. Not directly calling anyone out, but expressing frustration in a way that felt real. One post from someone claiming to be a family friend read, "Y'all keep playing like this is entertainment. It's not funny to everybody." That message spread quickly, because it reminded people that behind all the speculation, there are real emotions, real loss, real history. And that's when the energy became serious. Not just dramatic. Serious. Meanwhile, on YoungBoy's side, the silence continued. No response. No denial. No explanation. And that silence? It started to feel intentional. Because at this point, he knows the conversation is happening. He knows people are connecting his name to it. So choosing not to respond, that becomes its own message. Fans are watching closely now. Every move, every post, every absence. Because in situations like this, what you don't say can carry just as much weight as what you do. Then came another moment that pushed everything even further. A fan account claimed that a full version of the song might be dropping soon, and that the unreleased verses could be more direct than what people have heard so far. No confirmation. No official announcement. But the possibility alone was enough to send the conversation into overdrive. Because if that's true, then everything happening right now is just the beginning. And as people wait to see what comes next, one thing becomes impossible to ignore. This situation is no longer just about interpretation. It's about anticipation. About what might be said next. About whether this stays subtle or turns direct. And right now, nobody knows which direction it's about to go. But whatever happens next, it's not going to be ignored. What pushed everything into a completely different level wasn't another lyric. It was a reaction that nobody expected to go that far. Because this time, the energy didn't stay subtle. It shifted. Late in the evening, another message surfaced. This one stronger, sharper, and much more emotional. And once again, it came from Tisha Johnson. But this time, the tone wasn't just protective. It was frustrated. Her post read, "Y'all think this internet funny, but some of us still dealing with real pain. Stop playing before it go too far." That line hit differently, because it didn't feel like a general statement anymore. It felt like a warning. Fans are shocked. Emotions ran high as people immediately began connecting this second message to everything unfolding. The snippet, the voice note, the resurfaced clips. And now, instead of speculation feeling distant, it started feeling personal. Because once a mother steps in twice, people start taking it seriously. At the same time, something else happened that added even more pressure to the situation. A known blogger claimed they had spoken to someone close to the situation, who said tensions behind the scenes have been quiet but real for a long time. According to that claim, what's happening now isn't new, it's just becoming visible again. That detail changed the narrative. Because now, this isn't being viewed as something starting. It's being viewed as something returning. And when old tension comes back, it usually comes back stronger. Meanwhile, attention shifted back toward NBA YoungBoy, but not because of anything he posted. Because of something he didn't do. He didn't deny anything. He didn't clarify anything. And more importantly, he didn't stop the snippet from circulating. In fact, some fans believe the continued spread of the audio, without being taken down, might be intentional. Not confirmed. Not proven. But in today's music culture, silence combined with movement can send a message louder than a direct statement. And right now, that message feels open to interpretation. Fans are divided more than ever. Some believe YoungBoy is simply letting the music speak and has no reason to address rumors created by fans. Others are convinced that this is calculated, that the indirect approach is exactly how he chooses to communicate. And right in the middle of that divide, another twist dropped. A second snippet. Shorter, even more unclear, but with a line that fans are now replaying nonstop. They only speak when it benefits them. That phrase? It added a new angle. Because now the conversation isn't just about disrespect. It's about authenticity. About who's real. About who's pretending. And once those themes enter the discussion, everything becomes more complicated. Because now fans are picking sides, not just based on loyalty, but based on what they believe is truth. At the same time, a member loosely tied to the OTF side went live briefly, but didn't address anything directly. Instead, they said one sentence before ending the stream. Everything don't need a response, just remember that. That moment lasted less than a minute, but it spread everywhere, because people interpreted it in completely different ways. Some saw it as strength, choosing not to engage in internet drama. Others saw it as tension, acknowledging the situation without escalating it. Either way, it kept the conversation alive. And as all of this unfolds, one thing becomes clear. Nobody is shutting this down. Not YoungBoy. Not OTF. Not anyone close to either side. And that creates a space where speculation keeps growing. Because when both sides stay silent, the story writes itself. Then came one more detail that made everything feel even heavier. A fan pointed out that the original snippet had been reposted multiple times across different platforms, but never claimed by any official page. No artist tag. No project name. No release plan. Just floating. And that raised a new question. If this wasn't meant to be heard, why does it keep spreading? Because in situations like this, nothing moves without a reason. And right now, the reason isn't clear. But the effect? It's obvious. This situation isn't cooling down. It's building. Layer by layer. Post by post. Reaction by reaction. Until something finally breaks the silence. And when that happens, it won't be subtle anymore. By the next day, the situation crossed a line where it no longer felt like internet noise. It started affecting real movement behind the scenes. Because now, people weren't just posting, they were adjusting how they moved publicly. Appearances changed. Energy shifted. And most importantly, people started choosing what not to say very carefully. A scheduled appearance involving someone loosely connected to only the family was suddenly delayed. No official reason. No announcement explaining it. Just quietly pushed back. And in normal situations, that wouldn't mean much, but right now, it added weight. Because timing matters. Fans are shocked. Emotions ran high as people began connecting that delay to everything already unfolding. Because when public appearances get adjusted during tension like this, it suggests awareness. It suggests that what's happening online is being taken seriously offline. At the same time, another detail surfaced that made everything even more intense. A DJ who claims to have early access to unreleased music hinted during a live session that the full version of the snippet might contain more direct energy than people expecting. He didn't play it. He didn't confirm it. But that one statement was enough to push anticipation to another level. Because now, the possibility of escalation feels real. Not just speculation. Real. Meanwhile, the silence from NBA YoungBoy continues. But now it feels heavier than before. Because at this point, he's fully aware of the conversation. The clips are everywhere. The interpretations are everywhere. The reactions are getting stronger. And still, nothing. That kind of silence doesn't just feel passive anymore. It feels controlled. Intentional. Like letting the situation build without interference. Fans are divided more than ever. Some believe he's staying quiet to avoid unnecessary escalation, choosing not to engage in something that fans are exaggerating. Others believe the opposite, that silence is part of the strategy, letting speculation grow until it reaches a peak. And right in the middle of that divide, another twist dropped. A close supporter of Tashawn Johnson posted a message that read, "Certain things don't get addressed online, but trust it's seen." That line didn't mention music. It didn't mention names. But it carried weight, because it suggested awareness, not ignorance. And awareness changes everything. Now the situation isn't just about what's being said publicly. It's about what's being felt privately. And that's where things become unpredictable. At the same time, fans started noticing something else, subtle but important. People from both sides were avoiding direct interaction completely. No likes, no reposts, no responses. Even indirect communication stopped. It's like an invisible line had been drawn, and nobody was crossing it. That kind of distance? It doesn't happen by accident. It happens when tension reaches a level where any move could make things worse. Fans are watching closely now. Every detail matters. Every absence matters. Because in moments like this, even silence has meaning. Then came one final development that pushed everything to the edge. A rumor, unconfirmed but spreading fast, suggested that the track connected to the snippet might be part of a larger project scheduled to drop soon. And according to that rumor, the full project could include multiple references that fans would interpret as direct. No proof. No official confirmation. But the idea alone? Enough to shift everything. Because if that happens, this situation doesn't stay subtle. It becomes direct. And once things turn direct, there's no going back. Now the story isn't just about one line. It's about what comes next. Because right now, everything is sitting in a space of tension. No clear answers. No official statements. Just reactions and anticipation. And as that anticipation builds, one thing becomes clear. This isn't ending quietly. It's building towards something. And whatever that something is, it's going to force a response. And now, everything comes down to how you see this situation. Because at this point, this isn't just about one snippet or one post anymore. It's about patterns, timing, reactions, and the silence coming from both sides. On one side, you've got NBA YoungBoy, who hasn't said a single word to clear anything up, but also hasn't stopped anything from spreading. On the other side, you've got only the family staying just as quiet publicly, while people close to them are sending subtle messages that feel like they mean something deeper. And right in the middle of all of this, Tashawn Johnson stepping in emotionally, twice, which is what really changed the tone of this entire situation. Fans are shocked. Emotions ran high. People are divided everywhere. Some of you believe this is all being blown out of proportion, that it's just music, just interpretation, and fans are connecting dots that don't belong together. Others? You think this is very real. That those lines weren't random. That the timing wasn't random. And that something deeper is being said, just in a way that avoids direct confrontation. So now I'm asking you, what do you hear in those snippets? Do you think YoungBoy is quietly sending shots again? Or is the internet creating a narrative that isn't really there? Drop your honest opinion in the comments. Don't just scroll. This is one of those situations where your perspective matters, because people are really debating this right now. Make sure you like, subscribe, and stay locked in. Because if that full track drops, or if anyone finally responds directly, you already know we're breaking it down immediately. And trust me, this situation, it's far from over.